Welcome to Any Last Words. I'm your host, Joe, and tonight I have Tara Rule from an upcoming film that I am super excited to see. It's a horror thriller based off of true events. That's going to make you want more. I swear to God. You guys check out the INDIEGOGO and you're going to be like, if you're like me and you love true crime, you're going to be like, oh my God, this is not enough. I need to hurry up and see this shit already.
I love that you had that reaction. That's awesome.
Oh, I did. I was like I said before we went on, because I'd seen the trailer, but I guess maybe I wasn't paying full attention, but I watched it again and I was like, oh, wait a minute. Wait, what? This is real? I grabbed my guy. I was like, just shut up. He's like, I didn't say anything. I'm like, no, you got to check this shit out. This is true. This is true. I mean, I'm sure there is some stuff stretched or whatever to it or maybe added because they're, for filler or whatever reasons. But for the most part, it's true.
Yeah, there's so we added kind of a little element in there that is just to kind of make it more of a psychological thriller because we're also going to have a prequel sequel.
Ooh.
And that's going to be fictional, but we're kind of setting up for that part of it. But 99% of this movie is true to life, and that's what makes it so creepy is we didn't really embellish anything because I think some of the creepiness is just the reality of it. It's not really like this kind of overdone dramatic thing. It's it doesn't need to be that because it's so terrifying within itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, for lack of a better term, I am dying to know what this movie is about and to have everyone else know what this movie is about.
Well, I can definitely give you some of it without giving away too much. So this movie most of it is based off of the life of my co-writer and producer, Rotisha Jeter. She grew up across the street from a serial killer. And to this day, the guy has never been caught. He's still out there somewhere. And when she was a kid, during the summers, her mom would go to work, so she would be home alone. And it was only her house and this gentleman's house on one street, right outside of Charlotte proper in North Carolina. And she saw some things that she definitely shouldn't have seen. And he was onto her. He was aware that she saw some stuff she shouldn't have seen. And his response to that was to psychologically torture her for years, kind of gaslight her family, kind of turn her family against her in some ways with just kind of the crazy stuff he was doing, and no one believed her. He started to turn the local police department against her and her family because this is, in the 90s, unfortunately, not too much has changed since then. He was a white gentleman, her family or black family. So she would just always have the cops called on her and her family from him for nothing. He would just make things up.
Wow.
And the cops would always take his side. And eventually they ended up finding over 12 bodies inside the guy's house.
Inside of his house?
Inside his house, yeah.
Oh my Lord.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, Rotisha thinks there's more because they kind of shared a wooded area. So if you kind of think of almost like a cul-de-sac, there's a house here, and then there's usually surrounding woods.
Okay.
It wasn't exactly a cul-de-sac, but there was a wooded area that went around both houses.
Okay.
And she said that whenever you go into the woods, it really smelled really bad in there. She found some, bloody articles of clothing. Yeah, pretty bad, pretty horrible stuff. And this went on for years and years and years.
Oh my gosh. Now, can you say what this gentleman's name is, or?
So she doesn't actually know his real name.
Oh.
It seems like the way he got away with it was the house he was living in was not under his name or something.
Oh.
The title wasn't under his name.
Could he possibly have been a squatter in that home?
That's the thing, is it seems like that would be the most likely option, but the house wasn't super broken down or anything. It was a nice house. It was a big house, and it was very well kept, which is odd because that seems kind of strange for a squatter.
Yeah.
to just be, but I mean, it's possible because they said, they couldn't find him. He was using a different name, so on and so forth. I think a big part of it was honestly that there wasn't really much of an investigation. This guy targeted young, Black, trans sex workers.
Jeez.
So, a lot of times violent crimes against minorities, people of color, LGBTQ, sex workers in general.
Oh, yeah.
Homeless people, like the cops are just like, whatever.
Yeah.
They don't really do much. And because of that, there might have been a little blurb about it in the paper, and that was it. It wasn't like huge on local news, nothing like that. So there was no push from the community to be like, hey, we need to find this guy. Because, if something happens in your community or my community where something happens to someone and it's publicized, if people feel like there's not enough being done, they'll, make some noise about it and be like, hey, why are you guys not investigating this? But there just wasn't any coverage about it really. So.
Oh my gosh. And you said this was the early 90s, correct?
Yeah. So yeah, it was like 90s, 2000s.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh man, that is so heart-wrenching just in itself, just because these were people's children, they were, friends, they were families. I mean, despite, what was, who they were or what color they were or, what they were doing with their lives, none of that matters, none of that matters. Yeah, there are people there. They have the right to live, and they have the right, they have the right to be here. Everybody has the right to be here, except for murdering, oxygen thieving pieces of crap like that.
I agree. And I think it's really, that's kind of the tragic part of the movie. That's why it's like, yeah, it's a horror movie and it's a psychological thriller, but it's dark. Like, this isn't going to be your standard slasher movie or anything. Like, this is what makes it so terrifying and disturbing, is that there are so many other elements to it outside of just, hey, this person existed and that's very scary. It's like, there's this whole side of humanity that we're kind of trying to show people, because people don't like to talk about it. They don't like to think about it. I mean, this guy got away with it by seeming relatively normal. I mean, you think of Bundy, right? Like,
right.
He didn't seem that weird. That's how he got away with it.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be like some over the top thing. It's very scary, and it's very disturbing. I'd say it's very disturbing. There will be some obviously disturbing imagery and stuff like that, but different from what people are used to when they think of like a horror movie. It's not gonna be blood and guts every 2 seconds, and I mean, there'll be jump scares and stuff. It'll be fun, but it's kind of, it's hard to make it fun because it's a horrible topic. It's awful.
Absolutely. I mean, I like I said, I love true crime. I like live and breathe it literally every single day. And I do love horror films. I grew up on a lot of horror movies, but horror movies don't scare me. Like, they really don't scare me. That's why I watch true crime, because that's what gets me. It's people that scare me. It's not horror movies. It's people that scare me. Because this stuff happens every single day. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's here in the United States or if it's in another country. This happens literally every day. And so many people get away with it. And it's funny because the true crime podcast that I do, we actually just talked about like the newer technology that they have and that they've been using in order to catch people, the like codex and the body system and stuff, to use DNA technology to go back and catch all these people. And I mean, I don't know what they have, but hopefully I don't know if it's a closed case or an open case, but I hope
it's closed. I'm pretty sure.
Are you serious?
I'm pretty sure they closed it pretty much.
Well, wow. I hope, honestly, I'm just going to say this. I hope that this film like brings some kind of light, and it kind of, makes a ruckus to have this shit reopened, because that is just horrible. That is like some of the most disgusting stuff I've heard.
I hope it does too.
Yeah. And maybe they can use, I mean, because like you said, they don't know this guy's name. They know really nothing about him. So maybe this could go back and, find out who this person is or was. And at least, because if he's not around anymore, it would at least bring some closure.
Exactly.
To the families.
He was older at the time, so it's very likely he is deceased. If not, probably too old to be doing what he was doing, I would imagine.
Right.
But it's interesting. So the person who we have, the actor playing our police officer, is
Mhm.
actually, he was a law enforcement officer. He worked, he's in the military now, but he did a lot of like, private investigating stuff like that. And he's kind of worked in all facets of law enforcement and things were, with government stuff like that. And I was like, maybe you can like try to find this guy. And he's
Right?
like, because he's been on things like Hunted on CBS, like that was his job. He would like hunt people. He would find
Oh,
people.
wow.
So I was like, man, maybe you could find this guy. And when I was talking to him about it, he was just like doing some like preliminary lookups. He's like, there are so many of these people that fit this profile. Like people who lived in literally Charlotte, North Carolina, who murdered, Black trans sex
Older
workers
white male.
and put them in those big blue barrels and like dumped them in the woods or in their house. And these are multiple different people. I mean, it's like this happens all the time. And like it was just like an endless stream of these people doing the exact same thing. And it's like, and no one like talks about it or knows about it. And it's like, it's scary. That's what's scary about true crime, is like the scary part is most of it's not even public knowledge.
Yeah. Oh God, that's so disturbing. That really, really is.
I know. Yeah.
But
so I hope it does bring some light to it.
Nice. Well, I mean, that's cool in a way though too, that he is, was in law enforcement and all that, because it would probably bring some more authenticity to the film itself.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
So, I know we were talking earlier, and then some stuff that I read on the Indiegogo is you have a lot of people who worked for like a lot of really popular films and networks and such that are working in this film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've gotten very lucky. So Ratisha and myself both started as performers. We've both been acting for most of our lives. We actually met on a film set a little bit over a year ago, and we kind of became best friends like immediately. You know what I mean? Like just like instant best friends. And
like, you're my new person.
Yeah, it was cool. It was like, there's like the whole soulmate thing, and people think that's got a romantic connotation, but it doesn't necessarily. It's just like those people you meet and you're like, I know you from like this lifetime, and I don't know how many others, but like, good to see you again. It was like, seeing someone you've known your whole life. And yeah, we've both been acting for so long and have been part of so many productions that, they say like, it's all about who you know. And it's true that, we've met so many people. We didn't really consider that they would want to be involved, because it's like, they're on these huge productions, Netflix, Paramount Pictures, MTV. We got the guy who composes Deadliest Catch to do the composition. You know what I mean? We've got all these amazing people.
I love that show, by the way.
Yeah, it's awesome. So many amazing people that it was just like, they just wanted to be involved. Mm-hmm. Like some of them we would just like, oh, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing this thing. Oh, can I be part of that? It's like, it kind of snowballed. And then it was like, more people started talking about it and hearing about it. And yeah, now it's gotten to the point where it's like a big legitimate production, and it's crazy. It's really, we're really grateful for all the awesome people we have, and everyone's so talented and is very professional and knows what they're doing. These are like, people who went to school for film, have master's degrees in film, cinematography, stuff like that. So
that's awesome. It kind of sounds like maybe it was almost meant to be. Like,
it really was. So the whole film is interesting because Ratisha and I kind of share a lot of similarities. We grew up, obviously, kind of vastly different. I live in New York. She grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, two different parts of the country. We just had a completely different upbringing, but our lives kind of have these strange parallels, especially when it kind of comes to more like tragic or traumatic events. And we bonded on that. And we both had a pretty rough winter, and we would just talk on the phone all day, every day. And we came up with a little screenplay about one thing, and then we came up with another one about another thing. And then there was one I had worked on a year before that was cool, but didn't know what to do with it. We had all these things up in the air, and then when she started telling me her story, I was like, well, we got to make a movie out of that. And so we were just kind of thinking of doing that, and then she calls me and she's like, we need to combine all of them. Because like the other, with the exception of the one that I had worked on previously, they were all based on true things that happened to either me or her, mostly her. So I was like, oh yeah, like that's brilliant. Let's do it. So it was kind of meant to be, for sure, because it wasn't written all at once.
That's awesome. That is a really cool story. Like not one that you really would not hear as a common tale between two people who've met each other, and then just like everything you said, like you guys talk to each other and it's like, hey, this all just kind of fits together and it's just perfect. If that makes sense, what I just said.
It does make sense. It totally makes sense.
Sorry, I ramble sometimes. I mean, like it all works out in my head, but then it comes out like like mush. So
I totally get it. I'm exactly the same way.
So you guys have an Indiegogo right now. Is that still an active Indiegogo?
Yeah, so it is active. It's going to continue to be active. We are very grateful that we reached the goal in a pretty short period of time, which was...
Congratulations.
Thank you. We are going to keep it rolling, though, because, I mean, film people are not film people. There's always unforeseen expenses. Things come up last minute, especially, we kind of thought this COVID thing was under control. And now that that's, kind of changed a bit, that's a whole other level of expenses that we had not anticipated, as far as buying tests for everyone for every day, rapid tests, getting multiple Airbnbs so we don't have too many people close to each other, redoing the whole schedule so that there's not too many people near each other on set at all times. Like,
yikes.
We want to be careful about it. So yeah, we're definitely going to keep the Indiegogo rolling because there have been a lot of new expenses that have come up. So yeah, we're still going to be trying to collect donations for sure.
Well, so are you guys are in the middle of filming right now? Have you started filming? No,
we begin filming on September 13th.
Okay, so roughly in about a month, a little under a month.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's exciting.
It is exciting, and we're very lucky that we kind of got everything for the most part done early on. We wanted to make sure we had adequate time in case there were any fires that we could put out, and COVID kind of making a resurgence is definitely a big fire that we've had to put out.
Yikes.
So, yeah, we're in really good shape though. Things have really come together. It's really cool. Things have really come together.
So if there are no more fires or bumps in the road or anything, do you guys have like a projected time frame on which you're going to have this film released?
Yeah, so we're actually filming ourselves, and then we are going to be also filming some stuff for the prequel and for the sequel.
Oh, okay.
It's like a prequel sequel. So there's going to be a teaser that will be attached so that people are like, oh, cool, that was a really interesting movie. And then the teaser is just going to throw people like, that makes no sense. How is that possible? So we want to make sure we get that. Our plan is pretty much to film ourselves, come back here. Myself and a few other people are going to start working on editing. We're going to try to collect a bit more funding, and then I'm going to bounce right back down to Charlotte, maybe 2 months later, start filming the prequel, come back. We're hoping that the film ourselves will be done by summer, and then we're going to release the prequel hopefully 6 months later. I want to make sure it's like 6 months, like not an entire year goes by. So I think it's going to depend how long it's going to take to edit the prequel as well.
Okay.
But projected, long story short, that was such a long answer.
No, it's good. I like
Summer.
details and stories. So I'm like, I'm totally eating this up. I'm like, okay. No, I like processes. So
Hopefully next summer.
okay.
Yeah.
Are you guys I mean, I know it's not until next summer, but are you guys planning to do this like as an instant release, or are you guys going to try to make this like a theater premiere somewhere, or maybe both?
Our hope is that we've gotten some offers already from, somebody from Netflix said they wanted to buy it. And I was
Oh,
like,
yes, please.
well, they wanted to buy it pre-production. And I was like, well,
Oh,
no, if you're going to take creative, yeah, we take creative control. Sorry. Great opportunity, but no thanks.
yeah.
Our first plan of action is I want to pitch it to A24 because
Okay.
I think this would totally be up A24's alley. Kind of this little weird indie, psychological thriller horror kind of genre. Ari Aster, he did Hereditary and Midsummer.
Mm-hmm.
It's very that kind of vibe. So I think A24 would pick it up. If A24 doesn't pick it up, then we'll probably, from there go to like Netflix or something like that. And then it will go through the film festival circuit if we don't pick up distribution right away.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to see if we can get it picked up by a distributor first, because I know a lot of times if you've already gone through the film festival circuit,
Mm-hmm.
they're less inclined because people have already seen it.
Oh, boo.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thought.
Well, either way, I just found the Instagram for it today. Actually, Aaron from Horror was Sir Sturdy. He's the one that got us connected.
Yeah, he's great.
So thank you again, Aaron, for that. He actually sent me the Instagram link today because I could not find the Instagram for the life of me. I kept typing it in like 50 different ways. I'm like, how is this not coming up?
It's probably the underscores.
Might have been. He sent it to me and I was like, thank you, because I was literally trying to look for this and I could not find it. And I lost my point of what I was going to say because I have ADHD.
I love it.
I didn't take my medication this morning. So. Oh, but no, I'm going to be following this. I'm really going to be following this as much as you guys are going to, post or advertise about it. I am 100% going to be behind it, watching it. Awesome. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait till this comes out because I don't, it's not that I don't want to know more, because I need to know what happens in this movie. That's why I was like, oh, there's no name for this asshole. Like, I can't even go and look anything up on the side.
I know. That's the thing too, is like, people are like, well, how is it a psychological thriller if like you've already said he hasn't been caught? And it's like, you have no idea what's going to happen in this movie. And like, I've sent the script out to a few people, for continuity to make sure everything makes sense. Cause fresh set of eyes, and across the board, I've gotten back, I did not see that coming. I would have never guessed that. And people do this for a living. So, they just did not see the ending coming, which is awesome. Cause I'm always trying to find, a movie that I can't figure out the ending, and they're few and far between. So hope to do that with this.
Like, this really happened. Like 99% of this shit really happened. And then to know that he's not caught, I think that's going to make a lot of people think too, like, well, since this movie came out and everybody now knows this is real and they know the area and the timeline and this and that, it's going to make people, I think people like me who are really into true crime, like, want to know, want to dig into this more, try to get this out there a little bit more, try to find, it's going to make some wheels turn a little bit harder.
And it wasn't that long ago either. And I think one of the most tragic things about this is the fact that the victims are kind of like nameless, like kind of just forgotten about. And I hate that. Like, yeah, it's like, I mean, who knows who will see this and be like, wow, I know something about that. And like you said, any kind of justice or closure, for anyone.
Something. We cannot let this asshole get away. Like, even if he's already gone and passed, we can't let his name get away. Right. If that makes sense.
It does make sense, for sure.
So girl, I really hope that this film brings some light to some things. I mean, not just, I mean, to more than what it is, I guess, to the fact that, in the past, and so, it still happens to this day, like you said, people LGBTQ, sex workers, people of color, a lot of them have been pushed to the side because of those things, and they haven't been given justice and treated right, and with the respect the respect that they deserve as human beings, and the right to have justice, and maybe bring a little bit more light to that too, because there are still some people in the world who don't believe that was ever a thing. It's like, really?
Oh, I know. They don't believe it was ever a thing. They don't think it's a thing now. I mean, there is I'll say, problematic part of the population that just knows about things and just doesn't care or denies it.
Right.
And then there's this whole other part that I hope I can account for more than just people being like, that doesn't happen, where people just don't know.
Yeah.
People do not know this kind of thing happens. And if they did, oh, well, that doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
So I think if people were more aware, even if a few people were more aware, I mean, there's like a whole snowball effect that happens even with this movie trying to make it. It was a concept, it was an idea last winter, and now it's turned into this big thing. So who knows if even one person walks away being like, I had no idea that kind of thing happened. Oh, I have no idea that kind of thing still happens. And they talk to someone, they talk to someone, they talk to someone, and then suddenly something changes.
Right.
You never know. You never know.
Right. I mean, and even like you said earlier, that one of the actors in the film in law enforcement, how he even went and was like, he was really trying to help find something, but he found so many people that fit that profile and that description that were doing the same thing in that area. Like, hello, McFly, wake up.
Different mugshots too, because I'm like, oh, maybe it's all the same guy. Nope, different.
That is horrifying. That is terrifying. That is scarier than any movie you could ever watch or think of. Like, and I mean, I know it sounds a little sick to say I love it, but, and I don't mean it in that, that perverse way, but I mean, it's like, it's just
horror, it's real life horror.
It's real life horror.
Sometimes, yeah, and that's the thing too. I guess it's perverse to say, I would say the same thing, but I mean, if I didn't love horror, if I didn't love true crime, same with Rotisha, we wouldn't be doing this.
Right.
I think it's kind of a matter of what's the best way to get a message out there sometimes too, is like, you can tell people, are they really going to care? You can put something on social media, are people really going to share it, or how many people are going to see it? But if you can make something where people are like, oh, I'm just being entertained, not realizing like that they're actually like kind of, not to sound like pretentious and like douchey, but like, kind of like, like learning something, you know what I mean? It's
I love that you use the word douchey, because that's one of my favorite words.
Can I say that? Sorry.
You can say whatever you want. You're a grown ass woman. So
yeah, like it sounds douchey, but like sometimes you do have to trick people into learning things.
Right? It's like here's like a veggie dino bite, and it's like, really, it's all, it looks like a chicken nugget, but it's made of vegetables, darling. Like, just eat it. So
exactly, yeah, and that's fine. I get it. Like, I've learned things just accidentally because I didn't know about it, because I like watched something and I was like, well, there's no way that's real. And I Google it and I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
That's horrible. Whew. So we'll see.
Learn something new every day in this sick, sad, crazy world.
Yeah, and it will definitely be visually disturbing. We've got a really phenomenal makeup artist. She's done she's really good. Like, because we don't like anything cheesy. I mean, I appreciate cheesy. I love cheesy horror movies. I love cheesy stuff, but we're not comfortable producing something that doesn't look 100% authentic and real.
Right, because that's what you're trying to get out there, is that this is real. This was a real thing that happened, so we want this to be as authentic as possible. That's why I was like, oh, that one guy is in, like, law enforcement, that brings, authenticity to it. Like, I would, knowing that, I'm going to believe it even more.
Right. Exactly. So, like, his cop uniform is his real cop uniform. It's not a prop. It's not.
He's like, this old thing, I just pulled it out of the closet, just washed it, it's real
Right.
nice. So
I was
sprayed it
like,
with Febreze. It
can you
smells
wear
nice.
that? Is that legal? He's like, are you asking me? I'm like, I don't know. Ignore me. Like, don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about.
So is there anything else that you want to tell us about the film, and then maybe some more about the Indiegogo before we get out of here?
Trying to think if there's anything else. I think, for the most part, I've covered it. We're definitely trying to get as many people involved in this as possible. So, this kind of ties into the Indiegogo. We are still always looking for people who want to be involved, like even a little cameo in the movie. You can have your face on a, poster somewhere of like missing person. We want people to like incorporate their artwork. We have people making paintings for it that are going to be in the background. Music. Anyone who's passionate about this project, we want them to get involved. And if, anybody wants to get involved, they definitely can. The Indiegogo is definitely the easiest way to do that because there's kind of a list of things like, oh, I didn't realize I could like be a producer on this. I didn't realize I could be an executive producer. I didn't realize I could be a composer. So there are so many cool things people, you can even like be in the movie itself. Like there are a lot of really cool kind of opportunities for people if they want to get involved. And yeah, we just want as many creative people who are passionate kind of about the message behind it too, to get behind it and talk about it and be part of it, because it's called Ourselves for a reason. We're very close with our cast and crew. We try to integrate parts of everyone's lives that we run into that have become part of this into the film itself. So we want to keep that going.
That is so awesome. And if you guys, the link will be in the description above, below, to the left or the right, from wherever you guys are going to end up watching this from. The link is going to be in there for the Indiegogo. And even if you don't want to be in the film or a part of the film, you should definitely go and support it because, like we've been talking about for the past half hour, this is a true crime case, something that has not been solved. And I'm sure if it was somebody that you knew or if it was a relative, you would want it solved as well. So I highly recommend going and supporting this Indiegogo for this film. Like I said, even if you just like, oh, I don't want to be seen in the film or, whatever, just go support it anyway. And like I said, I'm definitely going to be eating this up as you guys go along and all of this. I hope you guys keep everyone updated on the Instagram and the Facebook and everything like that too. And oh my God, I can't wait. I would really love to have you and Rotricia back on.
Yes, for sure. She's the one to tell the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a hardworking woman. She's working her butt off right now. So
I know. I'm so sad she missed it today, but I totally understand.
Oh, I know.
Life is life. So.
And hey, we're both working pretty hard because we need to pay for this movie. So
yeah,
we're got to do what you got to do.
So you guys definitely go get that Indiegogo support going because these ladies need a damn break.
Yeah.
So
please. Even
they need some sleep.
For real, thank you.
Please help them. They need some sleep.
Please help.
Oh my gosh. But I would love to have you guys back on again.
Absolutely.
Whether it's, in pre-production or, post-production or maybe like before it's getting ready to be released. However,
absolutely.
We can do this again. Because I would really love to get some more in depth about the story or whatever I could get, because I'm sorry, not sorry. I'm a whore for true crime, and this is and I mean, just from what I've read about Rotricia's experience and everything, and from what you've said, it really sounds like she had it really rough, her and her family, and that's really shitty. And I think some of that needs to really come to light as well, as how people have been and in some places still are treated.
Too, because she's just very inspiring. I'm very grateful that she's she's part of my life, and we've kind of come together and are making something.
Absolutely, and I'm so glad that this is happening. I really am, because, like you said earlier, a lot of people are not aware of this case at all. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited that you guys are doing this. I really hope that, you guys, I really hope that this blows up big for you guys. And then, on top of that, off on the side too, I do hope that this, helps bring some things to light and maybe help solve this case. If this guy is not alive anymore, at least, like I said earlier, bring some closure to the families of the victims and all of that. So
absolutely.
So fingers crossed for you guys. I'm really rooting for you. I know
what we really want, Tish and I, ultimate goal.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimate goal, we want Jordan Peele to see it because we want Jordan Peele to see it because we have a feeling that Jordan Peele it's kind of up his alley. You know what I mean? Like kind of the whole like Get Out, sort of Us, like all of those movies are just very. This is kind of similar where it's like, oh, I didn't see that coming. And, for instance, like Get Out, I think the most terrifying thing about Get Out was like, I'm sure you've seen it, they pull up to this big, beautiful house and this like very well-to-do, rich family. And it's like, wow, they look like they are probably not very scary people. And that's the scary part is like what happens behind closed doors. And I think this would totally be right up Jordan Peele's alley. So that's the other reason we want to make it like as technically good as we can, the best equipment, like best cameras, you can use best audio equipment, which makes it exorbitantly expensive to make this movie, but we're not going to make it, it's not going to be a low budget production. I mean, it will not look like one. It does not feel like one because it's not anymore. At first we could like, yeah, we could do this at a few $1,000s. Nope, not anymore.
It's like, oh, I thought.
Nice thought. But hey, you know what? It's worth it. It's worth it to us. Because if we're going to tell the story, we're going to do it right. We're not going to half-ass it. Like, you can't half-ass something like this.
Right.
Let's go.
Well, you guys go check out the links. Like I said, not just for the Indiegogo, but the other links that I'm going to put in the description as well for ourselves. Go check it out, follow along with it, and anxiously await for its appearance on the screen or on DVD or wherever it's going to happen. Thank you so much, Tara, for being on and sharing all this with us. And I can't wait. I'm going to be biting my nails the whole time for you guys to have this done.
So we'll definitely keep you in the loop the whole time. And hopefully Tish can come on either herself or with me. We'll see what the pre-production schedule is looking like, either before or after. This was really fun. I love this. This was so cool. So nice meeting you.
Thank you. It was great meeting you as well. And, hopefully next time we can get Patricia on because I'd like to meet her as well.
Oh, absolutely.
And I can't wait to see this. You guys, like I said, for the millionth time, check this shit out. Check it out. It's not out yet, but check it out. Keep up onto it. Thank you guys for joining us this evening. And I will see you guys later in the week. And I hope you have nightmares about me.
Are you bad?
Could have been. Could have ended up like him.
Who?
My neighbor.
What did he do? Did you see him kill people? Did they ever catch him?